Hey guys, it's Jeff Burrows here, president of Expert Chemical and Supply. Welcome to another episode of the Masters of Clean podcast. Today we have on the show Adam Povlitz, CEO of Anago Cleaning Systems. Today on the show we're going to speak with Adam about why people should consider joining the cleaning industry and use a Anago franchise as a way to break into the industry. Hey Adam, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Good. Can you talk a little bit about Anago and how you guys got started and where you guys are at currently?
Sure. My father actually founded the company back in 1989. He had previously worked in, uh, I guess you would consider it traditional commercial cleaning before that, and actually worked for what we would call a competitor today, and learned about the franchising aspect of the business. Got into commercial cleaning franchising, and then by about I think it was 1999, we sold our first master franchise, which is kind of a regional territory owner, and started spreading across the US and Canada. Today, we're at about 48 new master franchises across the US and Canada. Most recently, just opened San Antonio and Fairfield, Connecticut area. Um, and we have over 1,700 unit franchisees as well. It's kind of it's a long story, 32-year-old company,
Yes.
but it's a small business success story, at least in my humble opinion, right?
And what interested your father and yourself about the cleaning industry? Obviously he could have started any franchise, whether, food or, uh, you know, uh, different franchisees. Why did he pick and you guys get into cleaning?
His background was actually hotel restaurant management.
Oh,
It was
wow.
not at all to do with cleaning. And he used to work at the old Ponderosa
Sure.
steakhouse food chains. And then I don't know exactly how the leap happened, but he actually opened his own uh, commercial janitorial business with his brothers, my uncles, up in Michigan, where I'm originally from, and it took off. It proved successful, um, but I guess there was kind of a parting of ways with them, and he ended up moving when I was a little kid. I was probably 5 years old. We moved to South Florida, and he started Anago at that point. I didn't get involved until it was almost going on 12 years ago now. Um, Never wanted to be part of the family business. That was never
S-
my thing. I was always like kind of a lone
Yeah.
wolf type guy, anyways. And I was actually working in corporate finance at IBM, and it was actually right at the 2008 2009 recession. And for me, I ended up being on. I was a new hire. I got hired in like a big wave of new hire, that hiring that IBM did.
Sure.
And then I was actually on the group who was helping determine who was being let go, who was getting the severance packages, the golden parachutes, and so forth. And um, when you see yourself, literally, and I never actually got to see the names of those people. I was in finance, right? I just got to see their
Sure.
employee number. And so when you
Wow.
when you kind of go through that, it's sort of, and I was mid 20s, so it's sort of, I don't know, I checked out. It was sort of, I don't want to exaggerate it and call it traumatizing, but it definitely like put me in perspective,
Sure.
and I go, wow, this is how cut and dry it can get when times get bad. And I checked out. And my dad called me around, it was must around the holidays, and he said, hey, you got to check this Anago thing out. I think we're growing. And it was about 6 months later that I ended up leaving and joining him at Anago.
And talk a little bit about the master versus unit franchise and how that works and why might someone consider, let's say if they're working for a large PSC or to go out on their own. Can you talk a little bit about the differences and sort of the capital investment? Do you guys help out, franchises or do you give them bank recommendations? Those are obviously large commitments or things they need to do to become a franchisee. So can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure. So they are, even though we're it's all under the Anago umbrella. It is two totally unique opportunities.
Sure.
Um, the easiest way to explain it is kind of is actually in reverse. So that you would think of a traditional franchise like I don't know McDonald's, and there's the McDonald's corporate, and then there's the people who own the restaurants, and they're the franchisees. So let's flip it upside down, and I'll start with the unit franchisee. Um, these are people who are looking to get into the commercial cleaning business. There's a shockingly large number because there's really no barriers to entry to create you want to create Jeff's Cleaning Company, go get yourself a mop and a bucket, and now you're
Right.
Jeff's Cleaning Company.
Right.
Um, but the statistic out there is something really terrible where it's like 50% of small businesses fail in the first year, and it's like of the remaining 50, like 80% of them fail in the next 3 years. And so you go like, why is that? Why is it that businesses fail at such a huge rate? And it turns out, at least according to what we've looked into, is that most people get into business um, kind of like they go, "Oh, Jeff, you're a fabulous cook. You should open a restaurant." Right? And you go, "Oh yeah,
Right.
maybe I am." And you start the restaurant, and you may be a fabulous cook, but what do you know about advertising, marketing, inventory management, staffing, right? The business
Right.
side of the restaurant business. And so that happens a lot in every industry. And so what we were able to do is we say, well, wait a minute. There's a lot of people who cleaning's not rocket science, right? It's cleaning.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are more than capable of handling that, but they don't understand really the business side of commercial cleaning. And so
Right.
that's where our model then kind of separates it into two pieces and says, okay, here is where the unit franchise owner comes in. It's a lower investment level, somewhere in the it's like starting as low as like 7 or 8 thousand to get in, all the way up to if they're purchasing, additional clients right out of the gate. It can go up to 25, 35,000. But very low initial investment. Like I said, 7, 8 thousand bucks to get in. Um, but where are they going to get all their client contracts from?
Right.
So what we've done is now we also have the master franchise concept, and master franchise is definitely a higher ticket item, right? The initial franchise fee is 98,000 all in initial investment. You're looking at probably 250 to up to, depending on the market size, up to 500,000. Um,
Okay.
but this is someone who is they don't know anything about cleaning, but what they understand is they know how to run a sales team.
Mm.
They have a sales, they act as kind of a sales manager. They run the sales team to meet with commercial cleaning contracts, sign those contracts, and handle kind of the daytime customer service if a customer has an issue. So if you almost split it functionally, it's sort of like taking commercial cleaning, which literally is something that goes on 24/7, and saying the
Right.
master franchise handles the day job, the daytime aspects, and the unit franchise handles the nighttime aspects. And everybody, is able and then corporate, we're handling kind of what is the industry trends, what's going on nationally, what sort of software and that sort of stuff do we need to be looking into. And so everybody handles one aspect of the commercial cleaning piece, or the one piece of the commercial cleaning business, and doesn't have to work 24/7.
And does the master franchisee kind of have territory exclusive? Is that
Yes,
how they?
yes.
So
So
you
yeah,
obviously have a control on how many franchises are going to be with unit franchises within that master franchise. Uh,
so with a master franchise has an exclusive territory. So for
okay.
example, I'm out of South Florida. We actually happen to also own the South Florida master franchise, and that covers Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties.
Okay.
Within those counties, there's not a cap that as a unit franchise, they're not getting an exclusive territory as a unit franchise. What they're
Got it.
purchasing essentially is a book of business. They say, listen, I'd
Got
like
it.
to have $10,000 a month of cleaning clients. And so then it's at the master franchise's job to then go out with their sales team and find $10,000 worth of cleaning contracts to give to that unit franchisee.
Got it. And talk about some of the differences for Anago versus, some of your competitors, some of the national brands. I saw obviously you guys post on LinkedIn a lot of company get-togethers and really family and culture. Can you talk a little bit about the Anago difference?
Sure. So from a competitive standpoint, there's some of the other names out there are definitely older and bigger than us, admittedly, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not, there's I'll say that, Jani-King is probably the McDonald's of our industry, right? They
Sure. Yes.
created, they
The
created this type of franchise concept.
yes.
So, kudos to them. Thank you for coming up with an idea for our business.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but at Anago, I think we focus on a few things. One, um, at the end of the day, right, there's not really some sort of game-changing technology in the cleaning aspect, right? We all have access to the same equipment. We
Right.
all have access to the same, chemicals and so
Right.
forth. The differentiator in commercial cleaning is always goes back to customer service. And I know that
Mm.
sort of sounds almost kind of, cheesy to say, but at the end of the day, really, I mean, if you think about it, most people don't know who cleans their office.
Right.
Most people are just happy to, come in, they go to work, and they go home. The only time cleaning really gets noticed is when something goes bad, right? You get to your
Right.
office normally on a Wednesday and you go, all right, I guess I got to work. But if you get to your office and you go, why are there all these, fingerprints all over my desk still? And why is my trash can full? You're not happy.
Right.
Um, and so we've kind of utilized that and the technology that we've invested in to make it easy to complain. Because on a positive, there's always going to be a human element in our business, right? Because it can't get outsourced to China or India. It can't get replaced by, Amazon's not coming to town and putting us out of business, right?
Right.
It's not
Right.
something that's done virtually. It has a human element. So there's a legacy aspect to the business that's a good thing. But on the other side, right, if there's a human element, humans make mistakes. And if humans make
Right.
mistakes and we know that they're going to make mistakes and we know that we're not going to get noticed unless we've made a mistake, how do we use that moment to make a friend? And so that is, our technology is all designed around speed to response, speed to, handling any issues that occur, and just making it generally easy for you to forget about us, and go back to your work. And then from a general office standpoint, I'm a huge fan of, Simon Sinek. Start with Why,
Sure.
Leaders Eat Last. Those types of books. Um, and I'm admittedly not the best. I mean, I'm kind of I'm tougher than I think I am, according to my staff. Not, and I said that to make it sound like a compliment, right?
Yes.
But no, I'm a hard driving guy, but at the same time, I want the culture here to be, work hard, play hard. And so, I mean, literally any excuse we have for cake, we take it. We're always doing
That's
at
great.
least, every couple of months some sort of, uh, you know, team building activities. We did it. So Cinco de Mayo, we did a little party, and it was a
Yes,
Cinco
I
was on
saw
a
that. That
Wednesday.
was awesome.
So we said, you know what, let's do it actually on Friday because everyone wants to, everyone usually wants to leave early on a Friday. So we do a little party. We did a Siete de Mayo, which is a totally fictitious
Yeah,
nonsense holiday, but in honor of
that's
Cinco de
fun.
Mayo.
Yes.
And had a food truck come out. We played some games. Apparently, I got volunteered to take a pie in the face, which I'm glad I wore a
Nice.
T-shirt that day. As one of the, you could count how you got whoever got closest to counting however many balloons there were in a bag or something. They get to pie the boss in the face, and she really, took her time with that.
Yes, I bet.
But we try to
That's
make it a
fun.
fun culture, right? I mean, you're at your office, probably excluding sleep, you're probably at your office, as much, if not more, than you're at your own home. And so
Right.
if
That's a
it's
good
a
point.
fun place to be, um, and you're happy to come and you like the people you work with, the reality is you're likely to work harder, stay longer, and that's a benefit to obviously the employee and a benefit to us.
And how about within the unit franchisees getting along or coexisting within a territory? Is it the responsibility of the master franchisee, or you guys step in, or how, to ensure that everyone kind of plays along? There's obviously plenty of business out there, and how do you, keep everyone happy and motivated and working to the same common goal?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of time or opportunities where the unit franchisees are outside of something that the master franchise would set up. They don't interact a lot, right? Because one unit franchise has clients over here and another guy has clients over here, so it's not like they're warring gangs that meet each other in the middle in the streets or something like that, right? They're
Yeah,
they're handling their own business.
yeah.
But for example, we make it a point, at least in the South Florida market, and I know lots of other master franchise owners do something like this. They have a monthly franchisee day. That's the day when the franchise payment statements come out, and they have everyone come in. They do raffles for backpack vacuums and different chemicals, give away pizza, and tell your family to come. I know they're doing. They'll do like one-on-one kind of meetings where we say like, hey, like let's talk about where you want to take your business in the next year, 5 years, and really stretch this out. And then just any kind of franchise appreciation type things that you're able to do to create that camaraderie. We just actually did um, at a national level. We literally just finished last week. We did our national unit franchise like Zoom virtual conference, and so you
Oh,
have
wow.
hundreds of people from around the country and in Canada dialing in, and we had a panel of really exceptional franchise owners that they could ask questions to,
Oh,
and
that's
say, and
great.
you have someone who's billing, I don't know, $60,000 a month as a unit franchise, and you got some new upstart unit franchise going like, what do I do to be like you, right? How do I
Right.
get to
Yeah.
how do I get to that level? Because that's
Yeah. What's the
that's where
secret
everybody wants
sauce?
to be. So it's
That,
it's creating those moments because it really is a how would I say, it's very spread out in terms of how the territories are spread out, and so there's limited interaction unless that master franchise or we at corporate kind of create those moments because we want to create, those mentoring moments and the camaraderie.
and how do you guys kind of pick geographically? You want to get new market? Is it you hear from a potential owner that says, "Hey, we want to open up a master franchise in California," and you might not be in that area, or how do you guys kind of decide geographically what makes sense to continue to grow?
So we tend to look at areas that have a population, within a reasonable concentration of at least 500,000 or more, typically a million or
Okay.
more. Um, and then we're working with it's not cleaning companies, right, that come over. It's usually mid career executives,
Oh,
former CEOs and VPs and so forth that either were part of a downsizing or are a lot of times you get a guy that says, look, I'm great at sales. I run a sales team. I know how to manage people, and I'm just sick of making money for my boss who owns the
yeah.
company when I know I could, without me, he's dead in the water, and I'm doing all the
R-
work. Why should I be
Right.
making money for them when I could make money for myself? And so we work through obviously, the standard, internet marketing and email marketing, and then we also use a lot of broker networks. There's a lot of broker networks in the franchising realm that that's what they do is they meet people in their particular
Hmm.
territory or area and refer them to us and say, listen, I got an opportunity for you. It's probably something you never considered in your whole life. Do you want to be a janitor when you grow up? My wife, my
Yeah,
wife always loves that, by the way. I know they go, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a janitor," and you get the eye roll. Um,
yeah. Same thing when my kids always say hand sanitizer instead of hand sanitizer. They want to know what I do and what I sell. And, what's so funny is before the pandemic, I always felt like people looked down a little bit about the cleaning industry or felt that it was not as valuable. And now, since the pandemic hit, obviously, and there was a shortage on toilet paper, I mean, my phone did not stop ringing. And it was,
yeah,
it's a challenging time, but I think there's so many great conversations that could be had on cleaning, and through this podcast and our conversations and with people, really developing a community and being a resource for people, because I think your knowledge, Adam, and not only from the unit side but also from the corporate side and people, really can be successful if they put in the work. Because I mean,
Yeah.
cleaning, obviously, the workload has gone, through the roof because of the
Oh yeah.
pandemic, and there's going to continue to be great opportunities. So I'd love
Yeah,
to talk to you.
people are
Oh, sorry,
taking
go
it.
ahead.
I was just gonna say people are taking cleaning a lot more seriously than they did a
Yes.
year ago.
Yes, that's for sure. And I think our level of clean and standards have improved, which is great.
Yeah.
I think we were cleaning at a level not as high as we could have been. And I think, obviously, throughout the pandemic, we've really increased our frequencies, our
Yeah.
performance, our indicators, and I think that's pretty awesome. So let's talk to you a little bit about innovation and technology. Have you guys looked at or considered, robots and UVCs and obviously electrostatics? You hear about all these talks and discussions. Is that something you guys have looked into, or, how?
Um, so honestly, some of the robots are really only good for those huge, like wide open type
Mm-hmm.
facilities. Like, if you're doing a huge, I don't know, a
Yeah,
distribution center or something
sure.
like that, where you can put these things on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And the UVC is, at least from what I understand, has had kind of mixed results where, some studies show it kills everything and it's fabulous, and other studies show like, okay, but you have to leave that light on it for so long that to
Yes.
actually disinfect a facility with UVC, you're going to be there a long time.
Yes.
Um, so what we've really embraced, I would say, is anything to do with the electrostatic disinfection,
Mm-hmm.
and any kind of disinfecting type programs. We actually created, in response to the pandemic, we actually created, we call it Protection Plus Disinfection. And it's actually a three-tiered disinfection program so that customers can kind of choose what level of sanitation and disinfection that they need at their particular facility. And it's got signage and letters and everything that we can provide to the customer. Because at the end of the day, right, if you go to a facility, um, you're a year ago, if I would have said, I asked the customer, hey, you want your, well, a little more than a year ago now, but January 2020, if I would have said, hey, let's talk about having regular disinfection of your high touch points, they'd go, what?
Yes. Yeah. And,
Now, I mean, that's the bare minimum, right? If you're not
right.
disinfecting, basic things like door handles and I don't know, coffee handles, refrigerator handles on a regular basis, you're putting your office at risk. And not
Right.
and yeah, while the COVID-19 obviously, thankfully is sort of, slowly starting to wane, and everyone's, out there getting their vaccines. Let's be honest, right? This isn't the first corona type virus. There was MERS, SARS, all
Yeah.
these other ones that came out
H1N1. Yep.
before, H1N1.
Yeah.
And so, realistically, I don't doubt that there will be some sort of COVID type, well, and hopefully significantly less, less with a less mortality rate than COVID, but there
Right.
there will be more germs, in the future,
Correct.
and that we
Yep.
need to be paying attention and disinfecting our offices. So we're all in on the disinfection technology, from a cleaning technology standpoint.
And talk a little bit about training. I think that really what separates a good from a great company is the training and the retraining. I've had a lot of feedback on some of my posts, and we'd love to talk to you about, training both for the unit, the master, and how do you create consistency. So if anyone walks in and to any facility that Anago cleans across the U.S., that level, the same training and cleanliness they might see.
So we at the unit franchise level, we have, we obviously have, that the things that every franchise have, right? Operating manuals, procedures, and so forth. over the summer when we created Protection Plus, we actually created an entire manual using, ISSA and CDC
Mm-hmm.
recommended guidelines for disinfection. That we created an entire manual. There's a certification process, so a unit franchisee won't go to, your office to do the disinfection unless we've
Great.
certified them in using the electrostatic sprayer guns. Um, and then we've obviously gone more digital, right? So now, nobody wants to read a book anymore. They want to watch a video.
Right.
And so so
Yeah.
we've all of the trainings also have a kind of a virtual version of it where you can watch a video, learn how to, see the techniques. And that's all in addition to, when someone buys a unit franchise, they get all the academic type learning with the videos and the books, but then there's also multiple days of physically going out, either with the brand operations team or with another franchise owner and saying, okay, we're going to have you actually go physically do some cleaning over here so that you can not only have the book smarts, but go operate different floor machines. Make sure you're doing the wiping of a desk. There's actually a right way and a wrong way to wipe a desk if you're doing disinfection.
Right.
All those little things add up. And so we do that, and then there's always ongoing education things, at least quarterly.
Right.
This past year, it's been monthly, and even sometimes twice a month, where we have some sort of continuing education thing just to keep everyone fresh and up to date on the latest and greatest. But it's something you have to constantly do and redo and train, retrain, and retrain again,
Yes. Yes.
to keep quality standards consistent.
And in terms of when we talk about quality standards and personnel, I'm sure HR is playing a large part of your guys' business in trying to retain staff and recruiting when you guys grow. Can you talk a little bit about, are you guys seeing some staffing challenges in some of your locations across the US and what, maybe they're trying to do to entice people to, join the cleaning industry?
So we actually don't have a lot of direct HR, right? Because we're a three-tier commercial cleaning franchise. So the unit franchisees are independently owned and operated. They have their own staff. The master
Right.
franchisees are independent. They have their own staff, and then obviously we at corporate are independent and have our own staff. But in terms of being aware of the industry trends, there definitely is a huge demand for labor right now,
Mm-hmm.
that's not being filled. Part of it is because without getting political on either side,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
It
yes,
pays to stay home right
yes,
now,
yes.
unfortunately. And look, for anybody who was obviously affected, where they lost their job, or something terrible happened because of COVID. I obviously sympathize with those folks, and they
Right,
needed the safety net and they
right.
needed the help. But we're getting to a point where now there literally are people, companies, giving out
Yeah,
crazy
yes,
bonuses
I'm
and
seeing
raising rates
that.
just to say, like, we need anybody to come in here and do any level of work. Um, I know my office, we've raised our minimum kind of wage, I guess, to $15 an hour for,
Oh, that's
an
great.
entry level position. Um, all of our master franchises have kind of worked with existing customers to say, listen, we can't, you used to treat us like we were the bottom line item on your
Right,
expense.
right,
And
right.
now you're wanting people who to come in who are trained and certified and are able to keep your office germ free, and that doesn't, that's not an $8 an hour minimum wage
Right,
anymore. You need to pay
right.
people who can, who are trained. And so I see it as much as it's kind of a pain now, I see it as kind of a general, um, a good thing for the industry. It's forcing everyone
Yes,
to, in commercial cleaning, who probably hasn't had a raise in a very long time.
right.
It's forcing the customers to acknowledge that we do a lot more than we used to. We're keeping you safe. We're the ones on the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're, so to, pay someone $8 an hour to keep you safe doesn't really make sense anymore. You wouldn't pay a nurse $8 an
Right.
hour.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not comparing, commercial
Yes.
cleaners to nurses. Nurses obviously have their own
Yeah, value.
difficulties and sacrifices that they
Yeah.
make to provide value. But it's a good thing. I think long term it'll be a good thing. It's going to raise, general living conditions and wages for everyone in commercial cleaning.
Yes, and I think, on the supply side, we've only continued to see price increases. I'm sure what you guys are noticing. There's a lot of challenges. And talk a little bit about, owning your own company. Is it as great as some people think? Is there a lot of headaches that come with it? I try and tell people and my wife and everyone that people always think that it's easy taking over for your father or a family owned business. There's a lot of challenges, for owning a business today, and love to get your perspective on that. And, you know,
Yeah. Um, I had an employee who's not at the company anymore, and not because of this, but who, they were younger, kind of a millennial age. I'm technically a millennial, but I'm an elder statesman millennial.
sure.
I'm a sage millennial. At the very older end of the millennial
Yes.
generation, and so
Me
what
as
they call
well.
it, I think they call it the Oregon Trail generation, right? We played that when we were
Yeah.
kids.
I love
And
that
you
game.
tried to fjord the river and your oxen would drown, so
Yes.
um but they said, I forgot what was happening, and they said, well, you're the boss, you don't have to do any work. And it cracked me up, and I'm like, okay, you have no idea how business works. um I think I think I think so. In some ways, the educational system has uh, taught everyone how to be an employee, and not inspired enough people to be entrepreneurs and business
Hmm.
owners. I think
Wow.
if
Great
you
point.
see what an entrepreneur has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, you'll have a huge and much greater appreciation for, as an employee, for whatever your role might be. Because I don't get to focus on, just marketing, because I'm not just the marketing, officer or something like that. I get to go from marketing to handling something in operations to legal to taxes and accounting. Um, the glamour of being a CEO of a company is there are literally no 2 days the same. That's
Yes.
probably the best part about it. Um, but at the same time, if something goes wrong, or if we're pushing some major innovation, I'm also the first one in the office and the last one to leave. And
Yes.
as I mentioned to you kind of earlier, my wife and I just had our second baby, and so to juggle, okay, I need to be home to help her out, but I also, we're pushing this major initiative on, whatever it may be, at the same
Yeah.
time that, there's also been a little bit of turnover at the office, for people moving out of state, and you're going like, okay, I have to handle all of this.
Y-
Um, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's exciting. I couldn't do something
Yes.
else anymore. I think some people are hardwired for it, and maybe we're all crazy. Um,
Yes.
and some people, they go, you know what? I want to leave at 5. I want to forget about work. I want to go home, spend time with my family. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I
Sure.
just I'm the type where if I'm on vacation, my wife could lay out on a beach for a week. After 48 hours, I'm like, okay, I need to read a book, go on a hike,
Yeah.
handle an
Be
email. I need to
active.
do something. And so this is my outlet, and I happen to make an okay living doing it.
That's awesome. Quick question. What in terms of skill sets do you think you see in terms of someone who's successful either as a leader or master franchisees, unit franchisees? What do you see that really makes them successful? Can you talk about drive or, personality? What sort of things you see someone, be successful?
I would say probably a careful balance between stubbornness and adaptability.
Hmm.
Um, as a leader, sometimes you have to say, this is what we're going to do. Like, everyone needs to get on board. This is the direction we're heading. I've looked into sometimes as a leader, you almost feel like you've looked into the proverbial crystal ball, and you go like, this is it. This could be our future. We need to start marching. Um, but then also a willingness to listen to all sides, have the
Hmm.
conversations with the constituents, the employees, the franchisees, whatever it may be, the customers and say, now, how does this work for you? And take all of that into consideration so that you're not completely braving your own trail, right? There's only so many Steve Jobs and Mark
Sure.
Zuckerbergs or whoever of the world where they're going like, I'm going to create something that you've never heard of, but you're definitely going to want it. That doesn't
Right.
happen often.
Right.
Most successful entrepreneurs and business owners say, okay, here, talk to me about things you do want, and let me see if I can provide that to you better than somebody else. And so having that balance, I think, is probably one of the most crucial pieces of being able to even being willing to cut your losses, which is
Hmm.
painful at times, going like, okay, we went down this path, this direction. It didn't pan out the way we hoped. We've invested a bunch of money, but it's time to call that a sunk cost and move on. Um, but again, but still being stubborn, right? It
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be something where, the CEO of a company is doing something where um, every little, blip on the radar or every little issue that pops up completely derails, major projects and plans. Major projects and plans are hard. They take time. And so you
Right.
have to come sometimes bear down and bite the proverbial strap and push through. And so it's that balance, I would say, would be kind of feature one.
And have a lot of the franchise been with you guys since day one, for a long time?
I mean, so there's a lot of franchisees that have been with us, since it's a 30-year-old company. There's a lot of franchisees that I know personally at least that have been around for 20 plus years.
Right.
Um, and we're growing, right? I mean,
Sure.
we've gotten, not as a brag or anything like that, but we're consistently ranked in the uh, at least top 50, sometimes top 10 and top 20 fastest growing franchises on Entrepreneur Magazine. So
Right.
there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of new blood too, a lot of new folks joining and seeing the value, particularly last year. Last year was insane. You'd think, we're in a recession and we have this virus going rampant and everything like that. But when you're I don't know, a bartender or a host at a restaurant or I don't know, any of these industries that were suddenly told like, hey, by the way, how you earn a living is not essential, and you go like, wait, what? Like I have to
Yeah.
I have to pay my mortgage, I have a car payment, and
Right.
and and cleaning never stopped, right? You don't fire the
Right.
janitor in the middle of a viral outbreak. You go, oh
Right.
gosh, we need him here to even more. And so we had this huge surge last year of people going, wait a minute, my industry has been told we're not essential, but my bills still seem to be wanting to get paid on time every month like they always have. And so we've
Right.
seen a lot of people go, you know what, I want to move to an industry like commercial cleaning where, whenever something like this, God forbid, happens again, I'm not going to be deemed as someone who's not as important as someone else. And quite frankly, even when the 08, 09 recession happened, it was, the office people, the mega financial firms were closing um, and people were getting laid off. But interestingly, the offices stayed open and
Right.
someone needed to go in there and clean them.
Right.
So you go, okay, there's always going to be a recession on the horizon, whether it's in 5 years or 10 years or whatever it may be. And you don't want to be caught flat-footed in whenever the next one happens. And one way
Right.
to do it is in an industry that doesn't really respond as negatively as many others to recessionary forces like commercial cleaning.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why when I was younger, I went through a similar situation on looking at getting involved in our family business. And I thought, this job is almost recession proof. Obviously, you never know, and really great stability. I think that's the one thing about the cleaning industry people who understand or have been doing it a while. It's very stable. There's always going to be business. There's always going to be cleaning, whether it's car dealerships, libraries, park
Yep.
districts, schools, you name it, office buildings. I mean, there's so much stuff to clean, especially in today. So it really provides a lot of avenues to, do that. Can you talk a little bit about the vetting process, maybe for master and unit franchise? Is it hard? Is it easy? Obviously, you want to make sure who's ever you're giving a franchise represents the name and is
Right.
successful?
On the master franchise level, I mean, there is a pretty thorough vetting process. You know,
Okay.
we have, I want to say, it's either 10 or 12 steps that we've programmed into our CRM that we walk a person through where they need to, understand the model. We have them validate with our other existing master franchisors, and while they're asking questions and learning about the business, we're also having the existing master franchises kind of feel the person out, see if
Oh,
they would
great.
be a good fit. Um, Obviously, someone has to be. It is a sizable investment on the master franchise level. So we make sure someone's financially qualified, understands what
Mm.
the spend is, understands. My favorite is when you tell someone, hey, listen, you got to have about 300,000, give or take, within your first year to invest in this thing. Oh, and by the way, you still have to pay for your own food and pay your car payments and your
Yes.
mortgage and all that. On
Yes.
top of that,
Yeah.
um, I mean,
It's a,
it's
it's a
scary,
big
right? I mean, it
capital
is a
investment.
sizable investment.
Yes.
Um, but at the same time, the benefit is, unlike a brick and mortar franchise, when we sell these markets, we're selling huge markets. I told you South Florida was Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. There's 5 million people down here.
Right.
Um, that you're never going to run out of businesses to clean in a market like that. Whereas
Right.
if you're a restaurant, well, people are only going to come from so far to your restaurant. So then what do you got to do? You got to pour some more concrete. You got to buy another building. And now they're only going to come so far to that restaurant. So now you got to buy 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20. I mean, some insane amount of restaurants to really make any money. Whereas with our opportunity, yeah, yeah, you're going to spend 300 to 500,000 bucks, but that's it. And then the investment, you invest the capital from the investment itself back into the business to grow the business. Um, and I mean, so they talk to existing master franchises. They talk to I actually do a call with them and kind of feel them out.
Oh,
Um,
great.
and between we actually do a personality test. We've actually
Oh, wow.
found
Hmm.
from our history that there's a certain uh, kind of subset of personality tests that tend to be more successful in our business than others. Um, that and nothing against any personality type, but it's and pretty much any personality type. I think they call it the achiever. It's someone who wakes up in the morning, kind of like the lion, going, I got to hunt
Mm-hmm.
something. This is very much a business of hunter rather than farmer, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
a build it, do the advertising, customers come to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got to go get it, and so that combination of things has helped us find the right candidates for the master franchise. At the unit franchise level, um, it's really, it's a lower investment. It's less complicated. I think the main thing we're looking for is passion, right? We're not
Sure.
trying to find someone who's is some expert at cleaning. We're not trying to
Mm-hmm.
find someone who's some mega business manager. And don't get me wrong, business experience in the past would definitely help someone be
Help.
more
Yes.
successful as a unit franchise owner. Um, but a lot of times it starts where someone's just going like cleaning's done after business hours. I'm just trying to make an extra couple of bucks while I'm not at my main job. And then those who really get it and latch on and follow the system find it that they're so successful that they quit their day job and they come and they
Mm.
go, wait a minute, I'm like I told you that the guy that's billing 60,000 a month, or I got another lady that she's billing like just over 40,000 a month. You go like, why would I work a day job when I can own my own business and make that kind of money?
Right.
It becomes a no-brainer. And so it's someone who's excited about running their own business, understands that it's not a job.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for, if the we joke, if the alarm goes off at a facility you're cleaning in the middle of the night, don't call me, right? Call
Yeah.
you run that business.
Yes.
Call the client, let them know what's going on. Make sure you notify the police that it was a false alarm, but don't call me. I'm not your
Yeah.
boss.
Yes. Yeah. That, oh, that's awesome. And how about what do you think will continue to get younger people like ourselves or the younger generation involved in cleaning? How do we get more people to realize the benefits of our industry? Or you have any suggestions, ideas, comments about that?
Um, I I think it's going to be tough. I
Okay.
think that, on a grander scale, if you kind of zoom out, right, you're seeing that any industry that's a trade industry right now is sort of on this wane where nobody wants to be an electrician, a plumber, a commercial cleaner, right? It's hard work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
but at the same time, I think what we'll see is sort of this ebb and flow where all of a sudden, my estimate, from the, people I've spoken to is, a plumber is going to be about 100% more expensive 5 years from now. An electrician, the hourly rate's
Yeah.
going to more than double 5 years from now. And I think once the money comes, the opportunity, the people who are opportunistic and thinking big picture, they'll follow. I think right now it's sort of
Mm.
everyone was told, oh, program the next, great website, social media company, all these funky tech names. I mean, that's been such
Yes.
a boom for such a long time that we've kind of forgotten that everyone, all those wonderful, tech companies are powered by electricians who got to go out there, wire everything up, make sure all the
Yes.
servers are running. And when you find out that as, a janitorial company, wait a minute, I can go clean one of those Silicon Valley, mega data warehouse, whatever it may be, and you're going to pay me how much?
Yes.
I think the shift will the scarcity will come first, then the money will come to compensate how scarce some of the trade industries are, and then I think you're going to see that the some of the folks in the millennial and the Gen Z generations are going to go, wait a minute, there's a lot of money in dirt. We need to
Right.
we need to jump on this.
Yeah, I think it's it's such a mature industry that and I tell people as well, it's not taught in school, right? There's not a subject, if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you learn about science, no one teaches about cleaning. So we're not teaching a subject that gets people excited or interested in. So we really,
Right.
it's on the job. They either know someone that, obviously everyone uses Clorox, Lysol growing up, the household names. People have that exposure to cleaning their own homes, but they try and sometimes, if they don't know about cleaning, use some of the things that they learn at home in a commercial setting. And obviously, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, trying to educate them, but also show, how many great skills and how much growth potential you have by joining the cleaning industry as a
Yeah.
younger
I
person.
don't know. I don't know. I'm stealing this quote. Somebody said it besides me that was way smarter. But the quote is, "Successful people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do." And so, if you think about everyone wants to get rich quick and not get their hands dirty. But if you think about some of the greatest successes of our time, right? You go, I'm in South Florida. Literally everything down here is named after Wayne Huizinga. That's waste
Yeah,
management. He's a
right,
he's a dump truck guy. He's a garbage truck guy, and he's a
right,
billionaire. You know what I mean? That's an industry where everybody, you've seen the trucks, I'm sure, where they, this truck
sure.
has bad breath, or we cater weddings. Those are my favorite little
Yep,
stickers on the garbage trucks. But that's a multi-billion-dollar, absolutely necessary, will never go out of business industry,
right.
um, that people don't think about. And so I think, like I said, as the transition, comes where the scarcity into the increased rates of everything into the money coming, people will go, wait a minute, I got to take a second look at this cleaning thing.
Right. And I think, there's so much value in people that realize that. And I think people that invest in great, franchises like yourself and see the young leadership and the ability to grow, and you control your own destiny. And that's the one thing I love about being a business owner is you really, the amount of work, the effort, your creativity, your hiring capabilities, marketing operations, all those things, you control how successful your company is going to be, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
excited. And congratulations. I mean, I know from myself, owning a business is not for the faint of heart. A lot of late night calls, nights, weekends, family balances,
Oh yeah.
personnel issues. you name it. But you're living the American dream. And I loved our conversation today. Thanks again for coming on, Adam. I really appreciate you taking the time. And
Yeah, my
yeah,
pleasure.
look forward to our future conversation. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.